Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today is another Oilers video, which I haven't made one in a little while. I'm finally almost officially done school. I have like one or two more assignments to go, and then I'm officially done, which are really easy assignments as well. So now I could finally make some videos, which I want to make some World Junior videos. I want to make some more Oilers videos because of the fact Dylan Holloway and Phillip Roberg are going to be in the World Juniors. So I do want to do some Oilers talk videos on that. But today we are going to be talking about prospects, which is a perfect connection. We're going to be doing the prospect pyramid. But before we get into that, I'd like to just say, if you are new to the channel, make sure to slap that subscribe button. That'll be very much appreciated. And hit that like button as well. So let's get right into it. Let's get right into the prospect pyramid. So right off the get-go, we're going to be talking about people who've left, like UL Pearson, who we traded off to the Anaheim Ducks, of course. Cameron Hebig, he's not signed with the team anymore. He was an unsigned guy, nothing we could really do. Ryan Mantha is still a Bakersfield Condor player, but is not signed underneath the Edmonton Oilers and can really never get his career going, so we are just going to be taking him off the list. Same with Vincent Desharnais, still a Bakersfield Condor, but it doesn't look like he's really going to be anything right now, and nor is he signed to a contract with the Edmonton Oilers, and his unsigned contract will end this year, so I just took him off as well. And Shane Starrett's gone as well from the Edmonton Oilers. So let's get right into this. We got the first tier 1, which will be absolutely no one. We don't have any caliber of like a Connor McDavid, Pettersson, Jack Eichel, those types of players, but we do have a ton in tier 3, or tier 2 I mean, so let's get on to that one. Alright, so let's talk about my 3 favorite prospects in the Edmonton Oilers system, and for the first time we look plentiful. We have a star 4 prospect in Dylan Holloway, who I think could be a huge contributor for the future. Not just that, we got 2-star defensemen as well in Phillip Roberg and Evan Bouchard, who are still mainstaying up on that tier 3 with the new addition of course, Dylan Holloway. For the first time, we're actually seeing someone new on that tier 3 instead of just Bouchard and Broberg. So we'll get into the kid first, Dylan Holloway, who we picked up this year in the 14th overall selection. A lot of people were weirded out by the pick. A lot of people thought we could win after Connor Savoy, maybe even got Seth Jarvis, who got picked before us. But there was a lot of prospects that people really wanted us to pick, but not Dylan Holloway. But you know what? I am fine with getting Dylan Holloway, who made it onto the World Junior team for Team Canada, and so far is looking really, really good. He started off a great start for University of Wisconsin, getting 2 goals in his first 2 games, and now he's off for Team Canada, which is showing some huge upside from Dylan Holloway, and I'm really excited about this kid. The way that I was watching him in just those 2 games, he has a wicked shot first of all, and not just that, he is a great two-way player for the Team Canada, which is reason why they got him on the team, because he's also physical. He's 6'1", 203 pounds. He's a pretty big boy, and I'm really, really excited for Dylan Holloway. And I think this could be a future guy that could play alongside of Connor McDavid, a guy that could play alongside of a Leon Draisaitl. I think Dylan Holloway will be a very big contributor for the team, and I'm super excited about him. Up next, Evan Bouchard. We all know about this guy. He's like the dad of the team now with that big old mustache that he has. But he was drafted in 2018, 10th overall. And honestly, he's just developed into a great guy. Last year, he had a great year in the AHL. 36 points in 54 games for the struggling Bakersfield Condors. And my lord, does this guy ever have a shot. Sure, he struggles a bit on his defensive games at some moments of time. He is definitely your offensive defenseman for sure, but he does show that defensive upside. He really, really does. And from what Curtis Joe and Elite Prospects was saying, a highly intelligent all-around defenseman that plays with poise and can shift the pace of play in the multitude of ways. He is just a super exciting prospect, especially for how well he's doing in that Beerzinkin league. I can't really say the name of it. I think he just left to come back to Edmonton for training camp. But he had 17 points in 23 games. He's doing great down there, and I'm super excited about him. But the other guy that I'm super excited about, the guy that made it to Team Sweden, is Phillip Roberg. I am really excited. This guy is defensive. He makes some really smart offensive plays. He's not a flashy defenseman, but man, does he ever play simple, and man, does he ever just play good hockey. This year, he's had 8 points in 23 games, which is already tied up his career high of last year with 8 points in 45 games. Phillip Roberg just continues on to improve every single season, and he especially surprised everyone at the training camp last year at the bubble. And I think Phillip Roberg's out there to surprise people. This guy was a Peter Holland pick, a very, I guess, underrated pick when we could have went after some other people, of course, right? There was Zegras, there was Soderstrom, there was a lot of other players that were more, I guess, big name players, but I think Phillip Roberg will be a perfect prospect for the Edmonton Oilers. So now that finishes up Tier 2, we'll move on to Tier 3, which there's some new faces on that one. Alright, so for Tier 3, we got Benson, Lavoy, Samarokov, and the new face, and Kuna Volo. And I'm going to go over the reasons why I think those guys deserve to be in those spots. Now, first up, Tyler Benson. Tyler Benson, he's been in the Oilers prospect system for a while now, dealing with injuries down there with the Vancouver Giants, but honestly being a big leader for the Vancouver Giants as well, which is huge. And now he's been up through the system for Bakersfield, and he's been playing fantastic there. Even last year, he got 7 games with the Edmonton Oilers, and he honestly looked really good. He just didn't get any offensive chances because of the fact he was playing down in our top 9, which wasn't a very offensive top 9 going through last year. Now with our more explosive offensive players that we now have, I think Tyler Benson might be able to jump up into that lineup and maybe give us a bit more offense. Last year in Bakersfield, in 47 games, he had 36 points. This year playing for the SL for the Kusnocht Lions in 14 games, he's had 17 points, which leads the team. And not just that, his teammate Ryan Haynes in 18 games has 17 points, and Tyler Benson is honestly ripping it up there down in that league. And I'm really happy for him that he's playing super well down there. And honestly, when Tyler Benson got called up, he showed that he could play that good two-way game and come and fill in for an injury, which I really like that Peter Holland, Peter Holland. God damn it. See, I don't know why I always say Peter Holland, but his name is Ken Holland. I don't know always why I call him Peter Holland. It's Ken Holland. Sorry, guys, for that stupid mistake that I made there. Anyways, Tyler Benson, no, great prospect. I'm happy that Ken Holland gave him a chance to go up in the NHL, and I think he'll definitely get more opportunities to jump up in that lineup as well. Rafael Lavoy, who's right now playing for Vasby, and my lord, do I ever love Rafael Lavoy. Doing some great stuff in the queue for Shakunami. In 25 games, he had 38 points, looking absolutely amazing when he got traded from Halifax to there. Not just that, he played really well in World Juniors. I know he didn't do so much for point producing, but he was a physical presence, right? This guy is 6'4", 198 pounds. He's a right shot, and we need future right wingers, right? What happens if Jesse Puljujarvi doesn't jump up in the lineup? Rafael Lavoy could be that future guy. He's still a long ways out there, but how well he's playing in the same league that Evan Bouchard is doing. In 25 games, he has 17 points, 11 goals. Lavoy can really rip it up. He has a really, really nice shot. He really does, and I'm excited for how explosive this guy is and how I think he will really make a big difference when he jumps into the Edmonton Oilers roster. Dimitri Samarokov, a KHL guy right now. He's playing really good down there. Last year he played for the Bakersfield Condors, getting some North American time, but he's mostly been playing in North America. As you guys all know, he's played for the OHL there for a while there, and did great in Guelph. Bakersfield, he had a great year too. In 47 games, he's had 10 points. Samarokov, even in the KHL now, a plus and minus of 22. I know that's a plus and minus, but that's still pretty damn impressive, especially in 34 games. He's had 8 points for that team as well. For being a young 21-year-old defenseman, he's getting a decent amount of minutes down there as well. So that is very, very good for the development of Dimitri Samarokov, playing against pretty competitive adults, if you think about it, right? He's playing on a decently leveled team in the Musquava, I think they're called. But he's playing with a pretty decent team. Next up, you got Kuna Volo, who's making his debut here on Tier 3. This guy has just been an absolute stud. Sure, he did struggle last year for the team. 245, 912 save percentage, but that's still pretty damn solid. But this year, he's just right off to a hot start at 924 save percentage with a 228 goals against average. Kuna Volo is somebody to be really excited about. Now, the problem is he is a smaller guy, 5'11", 196 pounds. But there's been small goalies in the league that have proven that they can play really good. Now, he does have to improve on that speed a little bit, but once he improves on that speed, I think Kuna Volo will be a great starter for the Edmonton Oilers. We have seen Mika Koskinen produce like this in the KHL before, and he's jumped into the NHL and has played really great. I think Kuna Volo can also do the exact same thing, and I think he'd be a great goalie. He's a great goalie for the future. Still probably a lot of time before Kuna Volo's even going to be close to being ready. Maybe a couple more years down in the KHL, and then of course having to come over and adapt to the AHL as well. So we'll see how well Kuna Volo will do for the future of the team. So let's get down to Tier 4, and we do got a lot of prospects to talk about down there. So for Tier 4, we got Safin, Wells, Skinner, Macleod, Maximoff, Lelegson, Rodrigue, Murado, and then new to the list, we got Savoy, Blumel, Toulouse, and Rasmussen. It's really hard to read upside down, but those are all the names to the prospect pyramid. Of course, Murado got downgraded to Tier 4 this year. Not just that, we also have new players in Savoy, Blumel, Toulouse, Rasmussen, a ton of new prospects into the system, and it's pretty exciting. A lot of offense joining this team and improving this prospects. Ken Holland is. He's doing a great job, and we'll start off with Ostap Safin, who has been in the system for a good amount of while now, and he had a rough year there for the Halifax Mooseheads. He got injured. He came back pretty strong, and in the playoffs, he just kind of dipped off the face of the earth. He definitely didn't play as great, and then he went to the ECHL, who I thought did pretty well. He had 35 points in 54 games. He did really well. He was third on the team for goal scoring. He was gonna get not booted off, but loaned to, I think, the Czech, but then he never did. So he's just been kind of sitting around, I think. We haven't really done anything with Ostap Safin, and I don't think he's really that priority right now. But I do think once the AHL does start up, it looks like Ostap Safin most likely will be down there. But he's a big 6'5" prospect. He is still a decent looking prospect for the Edmonton Oilers. On the goaltending, Dylan Wells, and not just that, Stuart Skinner, both had really bad years for a goaltending duo there. Dylan Wells struggled, 498, 871 save percentage in the ECHL. In just 10 games, he struggled. Not just that, Stuart Skinner, in 41 games, he was 16 and 17 for the Bakersfield. He had an 892 save percentage and a 331 goals against average. He definitely didn't play as great as what we thought he was going to do, and it kind of sucks because I do believe Stuart Skinner was going to be a future starting goaltender for the team, but so far he hasn't had that spectacular year down there in the AHL or the ECHL, and I think it's a do or die year for Dylan Wells or Stuart Skinner. They're both up there at 22 years old. I mean, they're young goalies. That's the thing. Goalies take a long time to develop. But especially when you're seeing Kuna Volo and Roderich produce the way that they've been doing, and especially since you're probably going to be seeing Oliver Roderich in the NHL here very soon. And Roderich looks really well. I mean, he's definitely not playing as good in that Austria league. A 901 save percentage, 347, but with a 7-6 record. He did great with the Moncton Wildcats the year before he, of course, became an overager there in the QMJHL, and whenever it comes down to the AHL, whenever that starts up, I think he'll do decent, but he's gonna be in the competition alongside of Skinner and Dylan Wells. He's gonna have to fight for that spot, but I do believe that Roderich is probably one of our other better goalie prospects right now. Skinner and Wells, they showed that struggle. They didn't do as well, but we gotta remember the Bakersfield team was absolute trash. Wichita, which I think was led by the Start, I think it was. No, Mitch Gwillem. Somebody that I don't even know, but they all had pretty bad years down there in Wichita. Anyways, moving forward, Ryan Macleod, who right now is playing for the National League and who's actually doing really well and is producing points. Last year there for the Bakersfield Condors, he only had 23 points in 56 games. He didn't produce as much points as what we expected him to do. He was more of a two-way player, which I don't mind that out of a second-round pick, which we'd even think we were going to get at the 40th overall selection, and honestly he's looking not that bad. In the National League, in 13 games he has 10 points. He's another two-way defender, great skater. He puts in a lot of effort. I'm really excited about Macleod. He's a big guy, kid too, 6'3", 201 pounds, might be our future third line centerman for the Edmonton Oilers, and is just another exciting prospect. Maximoff, who right now is playing in the KHL, or the VHL. In the VHL, he has in 10 games, he has 10 points, a point per game, 5 goals, 5 assists. KHL is not doing as great. He's playing in the same team as Dimitri Samarokov, which is good because they get to play in the same team, still do as well. In 11 games, he has 2 points. In AHL last year, he didn't do too bad either, but definitely not as great as what he was producing when he was in OHL. But he's getting used to the AHL, the adult hockey, and I think he's doing really good down in the younger leagues. So it's showing that Kirill Maximoff still has a lot of maturing that he needs to do to take that next step in the NHL, but he still has a great shot, and I still do believe that Maximoff could be a future piece to the Edmonton Oilers. This is probably William Lagson's last year with the Edmonton Oilers. He was drafted way back in 2014. A great defenseman last year for the Edmonton Oilers. He played 8 games and didn't look too bad in those spots. He's been a great AHL defenseman for the past couple years for the Bakersfield Condors, especially last year. Now he's also playing down there in Velskin, who actually is doing really good. I think he got kicked off the one team because he wasn't getting enough minutes, but even when he was there in 11 games, he had 9 points with a plus and minus of 6. He's still not doing too bad now. So be excited about William Legson. He's definitely that future depth defenseman. He's strong. He's a defensive defenseman with a good physical game and offensive game as well. So William Legson is just an overall exciting prospect to look at. Conor Savoy, and I am going to give this kid high praise right now. I almost put this kid on tier 3. This kid has a wicked shot, epic at skating. I mean, sure, there's a bit of problems with his balance, but this kid put up 50 and 50 in the AJHL and somehow fell all the way down to round 4 just because of his size, as he's 5'10", 181 pounds. I'm so glad Kenny Holland went after this kid. 6 goals in 6 games down there with the University of Denver in his first season. 8 points in 6 games. Savoy is just absolutely amazing. Nothing but good things I've been seeing out of Savoy. Matteo Blumel, We drafted him last year in round 4. He's been doing great for the Dynamo. 11 points in 20 games. He's just continuing to get better and better every year. Last year, he didn't do as great. 5 points in just 31 games. He already has 11 points now. And honestly, he's looking good. He's a little speedy guy, kind of like a Savoy, and selected in the same spot as Savoy, which is kind of funny. Just a year before, I think Blumel will be another nice winger for the team, and a really nice prospect there. Next up, Tyler Toulouse, centerman, right wing. He's kind of like a Brendan Gallagher, what he reminds me of. He's doing really well down there in Slovakia. In his first game there, he got a goal, so congratulations to him. He has 2 points in 2 games right now, and honestly, he's not looking that bad. He's a really exciting prospect for the Edmonton Oilers, and I almost put this kid up in tier 3 as well, just how excited I am for this offensive draft that we had in 2020. It was so good. Pili Rasmussen in the league, he's doing really good, especially in Boston College last year. In 34 games, he had 24 points, way better than the year before when he first started playing there, or the second year where he kind of struggled. He kind of fell back down to earth. In Liga, in 17 games, he's had 7 points. He's doing really good there for Cal Pau right now. And I'm liking the kid. He's still 22 years old. He's a nice playmaker. He's smart, and I think he could develop into something good. He's just going to take a little bit more time than usual. Cooper Murado had a rough year down there in the AHL. Right now, he's down there with Austria with Rodrigue. No points to talk about in just his 1 game played. But we really need to see a bounce-back season from Cooper Murado. We really do. And I don't know if he's really going to pan out to be anything. He had a great season the year before there for the Bakersfield Condors, but I feel like he definitely needs to have a bounce-back year to really show the fan base that he's still here and he's still a great-looking prospect for the Edmonton Oilers. All right, so for tier 5, we got Philip Kemp, Phillip Berglin, Maximoff, Beerzinkin. Don't butcher me on it. I can't say those Russian names. Also, I can't say this guy's name either. Dejashikin. I can't say his name either. Saikin. Then we also got, what's his face? Lindwell and Thomas Mazario. I think Mazario and what's his face, Phillip Berglin are the only 2 guys that are still originally from last year's prospect pyramid on tier 5, and then of course tier 6 is just everybody else that I did not list over this pyramid. So we'll start off with Philip Kemp. He's playing in the NCAA for a couple years now. I think he's done there. He did his 3 years down there in Yale, and he didn't do too much for point producing. He did play for USA under 20, the World Juniors. He didn't do too well, but defensively, he's a stellar guy defensively. He's doing pretty decent there in Vasby, only playing 5 games. I think that's the same team Lavoy's went and played for. But Kemp is just another defenseman prospect that probably is still a little whiles away out, but we do have him on a decent contract and could potentially be something. Phillip Berglin used to be somebody that could be, somebody that was going to be a huge top 4 prospect for the Edmonton Oilers, but he just honestly never panned out, and I mean, he's still looking really good to this day, but not as good as he used to be. He's definitely going to be your top 6, your top 6 guy. He's 23 years old, so he's getting up there in age, and he's got to start proving himself now. As last year, he had a pretty good season, putting up 20 points in 52 games with a plus and minus of 4. But now he's not producing as much this year. In 11 games, he's at 3 points, which is not too bad. But compared to last year, where he's at 20 points, he might be able to reach that again, but this year he has a minus 6, so he's really gonna have to start playing a little bit better if he's gonna want to play on the team. He's been loaned to the SHL tons of time. Will he just continue to stay down there? I'm not too sure. Hopefully we might see him sooner or later. He's, like he had said here on Elite Prospects, he's a big 2-way defender, and if he doesn't pan out to be anything good, we still have Roberg, we still have Bouchard, we got Samarokov, we got a lot of strong defensive prospects, and Phillip Berglin is part of that. So Maximum Beerzinkin, I think his name is. left wing prospect that we got up this year in round fifth round. I mean, I can't speak English apparently today. I've been talking way too much. But in the KHL, he's only put up 2 points in 23 games this past season. But in the MHL, he's a point per game. In 5 games, he's had 6 points. Last season, he had 54 points in 51 games. The kid's a flashy guy. He honestly is. He's a top offensive guy. He's speedy for the size he is, 6'4" at 216. Sure, he's still a little bit unbalanced, but man, he could put up some mad points, and I'd like to see him start doing it in the KHL. But he hasn't been able to do that just yet. But he's still young. He's only 19 years old. He's getting older, and he's getting more mature. So I do believe that Beerzinkin will continue to get better as he's playing his first practically full year in the KHL this year. So we'll see how well he continued to develop. The other Russian and Beerzinkin, the 20-year-old who we picked up last year in the 7th round, another offensive guy, MHL, which is the younger lead. He was the captain there for Yaroslava. In 52 games, he had 44 points. In the playoffs, he did really well. He hasn't played too much for the KHL this year, but he's played a little bit in the VHL, which is a league higher than the MHL. He has had 18 points in 25 games, which is pretty damn good. And so we see that slow development out of Beerzinkin right now as well. Centerman Prospect, he's a small guy, and this is another guy the same as the other guy. Flashy, but they're Russian. It's a bet, right? You're really taking a little bit tiny of a gamble. It's a 7th round pick. It's not going to hurt your team too bad. Siakinen didn't too bad for the Mestis league there for the Liga. He didn't do too bad. In 16 games, he had 10 points. Liga, he hasn't been able to find that point producing that he used to find down in the junior leagues. But I think this kid, he's going to take a long time to develop, and he's going to take a long time to be ready for the Edmonton Oilers. You know, Myers Lindwall looked great at the start of the season here for the Elsevier. Oh my God, I cannot say it. The Swedish league. In 14 games, he's had 4 points. And in the junior league as well, he's had 9 points in 8 games. He's really producing really well, and I'm happy about that. He's looking really well. He's another big guy, 6'2", 183 pounds, and he'll continue to grow. But he's a greaser. He likes to go in front of that net. He likes to grind in there, and I like that. And I'm hoping that Lindwall will develop into somebody nice. He looks like a very good Swedish guy, and Ken Holland knows the Swedish players. And then Thomas Mazario, who we got last year in the 6th round, who absolutely popped off for the Kimball Union Academy. He was the captain. In 35 games, he had 73 points. And this year, he will be playing, or not this year, he's playing for the HIFK under 20, and he's already had 3 points in 3 games. Next season, he will be going to Providence College, so he'll probably be there for a good 3 years. So you most likely won't be seeing Mazario until 23-24 after he's done there in Providence. But I'm expecting once he goes to Providence there in 2021-22, this kid will rip it up there, and he will do fantastic, and I'm pretty excited about it. So that is the prospect pyramid for the Edmonton Oilers. Here it is one last time. Take one last good look of it as the 2nd annual prospect pyramid. Shout out to Steve Dangle for making this. The link will be down in the description for his channel. He's just a great Toronto Maple Leafs YouTuber. He's really inspired me to kind of do a lot of the stuff that I do for the Edmonton Oilers. But honestly, I am super, super excited for the World Juniors to see Holloway and Broberg. Not just that, especially excited for the upcoming season that is just under a month away now, as we get to see that 56 game format and Canadian division, boy. Canadian division. That will be ever exciting, and I'm super excited for it. So I'm going to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Adios, amigos.